I recently made a video and it was called Stop Watching YouTube Videos. You can check that out right here. And a lot of you loved it. And thank you, because it really was a topic that was close to my heart and something that I felt the need to talk about. Now, some of you hated it, and I think maybe hate me a little bit, but I'm cool with it, because one of the things that I stopped doing in 2019 was caring so much about people who were mean or said nasty things. So all the power to you, and I would assume that the people who really hated it or really hated me, I think one comment actually told me to put a bag over my head, so thank you, ma'am. That was really sweet of you. I would assume the reason that you hated it or you were triggered by it is because maybe it hit too close to home. So the thing is, when I realized how much of a response that it got, I kind of knew that I was onto something, because I think we're all looking for permission to stop doing things instead of getting told we need to do all of the things, because there is a lot of information out there. I talked about that a lot in that video. So I wanted to kind of add on to that video of all of the things that you can stop doing and the things that really won't make a difference in growing a successful business or being a successful entrepreneur, and particularly building a really successful online business, YouTube channel, etc. So we're gonna dive into that list of the stop doing items today in this video. I'm so excited to share this. So give this video a like if you're excited to hear all the things that you can stop doing ASAP. And also make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to get notified every single time that I post a new video. The other thing I wanted to mention before I dive into this list is that I'm speaking from so much experience on this, because I personally have wasted a lot of money on the wrong things, and I got into a place where I was just listening to everyone and doing all the things that I should do based on everyone else's information and guidance. And that's a really dangerous place to be, because people are going to tell you what you should do, but you have to figure out for yourself if it's actually entirely necessary. So I really am passionate about sharing the stop doing list, because you have a lot of things in your life and your business that you can free up so you can actually focus on the things that you really want to achieve. And again, I'm saying this from a lot of pain, a lot of experience, and building my business over the last, well, I started in my entrepreneurial journey 11 years ago, but this particular online business I started 4 years ago. And again, I've learned so much, I've wasted a lot of money, and I don't want you to have to go through the same thing. And I've also wasted so much time, and those are the most valuable currencies that we have. So let's get right into the stop doing list. So things that I don't think you need to be doing to grow a successful online business, and this can apply to really any business, is you don't need to be posting every day. It's not helpful to anyone. And a big part of my strategy over the last year is that I started really focusing on intentional content and posting content that actually was going to make a difference in some kind of way, as opposed to trying to just fill the calendar and being like, oh, I didn't post today, I better post something to Instagram, or I better publish a video. I got real intentional with my content, and it wasn't that surprising to me that all of my platforms grew exponentially. So post less, reach more, post less, impact more is the mentality that you can adopt if you want to free up that mental space, because posting every day when you don't know why you're posting is keeping you stuck, and it's keeping you on the treadmill of just trying to keep up, but you don't even know what you're really trying to keep up with. So that's the first thing. You do not have to be posting every single day in order to be successful. You got to be intentional with your posts. The next thing is, I stopped following everyone. I had this sort of nice girl mentality where I felt the need to follow every single person on every single platform. But the reality is, once I started paying attention to who was showing up in my feed, no matter what platform it was, I really paid attention to how it made me feel. And if anything came up that made me feel less than, made me feel crappy about myself, made me feel kind of icky or yucky, or like it wasn't aligned with my morals or values, I just hit the unfollow button. It takes all of 2 seconds, and that allows you to clear headspace as well for the things that you actually want to bring in, the things that you actually want to attract, and the things that are actually going to help you. Because when you have so much clutter in your feed and in your brain, how are you supposed to get the things done that you actually want to get done? Next on the list, spending time and money on brand photo shoots. Now this list was inspired by a list that I shared on my Instagram story not too long ago, and people went crazy over it because I think a lot of it is counterintuitive to maybe some of the advice that you've heard. And I have done this. I used to do all these really fancy pants brand photo shoots, and I'd spend money and time curating everything that was gonna go on in them and all the photos that I wanted. And at the end of the day, the photos that are the most raw and natural and real are the things that make the biggest impact, because we're moving into this space that I've found, at least for myself, and again, you gotta test this for yourself, but I have found that photos that are perfectly curated and look like they're out of a magazine, they're unrelatable, and people want people they can relate to. And so the more relatable your photos are, the more people are like, I can see myself in her or in him, and that's the person that I wanna work with. People can see through fake real easy at this point. So spending money and time on brand photo shoots, that's not going to make you money. That's not going to build your business. For certain things, sure, like a website maybe, etc. But like to be just doing it for Instagram, especially if you aren't making any money, why? Why are we doing brand photo shoots? And I was one of those people. I also know that woman who told me to put a bag over my head is real close to posting the same comment right now. So ma'am, if you just want to get it over with, go right ahead. Taking advice from people who have never built the type of business that you want or have the life that you want. Holy smokes. Because there's so much information out there, sometimes we fall vulnerable to just listening to everybody and thinking that people are on a pedestal when they don't know what the hell they're doing. There are so many people, and I get the behind the scenes. So there are so many people that look like they have it all together and they don't, myself included. I mean, I'm very honest about my journey, and I've figured a lot of things out, but I'm not perfect, so don't put me on a pedestal. And don't take advice from me if I'm not doing the things that you really want to be doing. If you don't really want to grow a successful online business, I am not your girl, because that's what I'm going to talk to you about. I'm going to talk to you about how to achieve your dreams. But if you want to have a farm, I don't know, random example, if you want to have a farm and that's your goal, follow them. And follow the people who are actually doing the things. So don't feel the need to follow everybody, because again, it's just cluttering your brain space. And also be really, really discerning with who you do follow. Are they actually walking the walk? Are they actually talking the talk? Because there are a lot of people who try to position themselves as experts on things that they've never done themselves. And you will figure it out real quick if they haven't, just by asking a couple of questions. But just be wary of that, because just because someone has more followers than you does not mean that they're an expert or any better than you. The next thing on the list, super important and kind of relates to something I already said, but posting random content on social media that has nothing to do with what you ultimately want to build a business around is the greatest waste of your time and energy, and it's an actual tragedy. So don't just post to post, as I mentioned earlier, but when you are posting, think about who is the ideal client, customer, audience that you're trying to attract, and what would they care about? Because it has nothing to do with you. And I always say random content equals random clients. And we do not want random clients in our business because they are a freaking nightmare. So you want people who are actually attracted to you because you're giving them what they need and what they want. You're solving a problem, you're answering a question, you're inspiring them, you're educating them, you're entertaining them, whatever it might be. Be intentional about who you're trying to attract with your content, because the more you are, the more you become a magnet and you actually build an audience who's super invested in you and also what you're able to sell to them, so you can actually build a successful business. Random content, random clients. Just keep that in your mind. Ooh, the next one, and I know this is not gonna be a popular opinion, but again, I did this. So I'm only able to say this because I did this, and it's something that I wish I had known before I did this, because I spent thousands of dollars building a pretty website, and I, at the time, didn't even really know why I was building it. I just felt like I should build a website because everyone was like, you gotta have a website if you have a business. Welcome to 2005, because it is now 2019 and you may be watching this in 2020. And at the end of the day, there are so many tools now that you can use to whip up a website so quickly. And you also don't necessarily need a full-blown website. I started my business before I had a website with just a landing page. And that landing page built up my email list. It told people what I was all about, and it took me all of 5 minutes to build. So building a perfect, pretty, beautiful website without knowing why you're building it or what you're actually trying to achieve with it or who you're trying to attract or what you're trying to sell is such a big waste of time and money. And again, I did it. So please let me save you from that mistake. Invest that money into actually investing in the right mentors, in the right resources, in the right courses, in the right programs, in the right education, so you can actually build something that you can sell and then create a website for that. So really, really important on that note. And again, speaking from experience. And kind of on that same note, the biggest hurdle that I see, and again, kept me stuck for quite a while, was spending time trying to figure out complicated tech and doing things that are so outside of your comfort zone, which I think is a good thing in some realms, but if it's not necessary, you don't need to be doing it. So you can start selling your products and services, you can start getting income in the door without having a funnel in place, without having technology set up. Just because one person tells you that you have to have funnels in your business does not make it true. So what we work with on our clients is you can start selling right now, even if you don't have an audience, even if you don't have a funnel, there are options for you to go grassroots and start selling. When I first started my business, I literally was walking door to door, and I know that doesn't sound cute nowadays, and I haven't done it in a while, but to start my business, I needed to go guerrilla style. I needed to get scrappy. I needed to be hungry, and I needed to just go get clients at all costs. And so that's what I did. You do not need the tech. The tech will keep you stuck because it's complicated sometimes. Sometimes it's easy, depending on who you are. But you don't need those things, and you can stop doing them if you think that's what's going to get you your first clients, because it's not. You can take it from me. Oh, the next one is you do not need to spend money on ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Snapchat ads, YouTube ads, if you don't have an offer that's actually proven. And you don't need to be spending money on ads if you haven't already built an audience of some kind organically. Because doing that is basically, I call it a dumpster fire, because you're just throwing money into the fire without knowing if it's actually going to work or get you money back. The amount of people, it actually hurts my heart to hear the amount of people who have been told, oh, you should just set up a funnel and have some Facebook ads and sell a product about X, Y, and Z. What? You're just gonna spend money on something that you don't even know works, or if anybody actually wants to buy it, so you're not gonna get any return on your investment? That's crazy talk. So you don't need ads to start a business. You don't need ads to get your business off the ground. What I find to be the most effective method, and what we work with our clients, and what I did in my business, is I started by proving my methodology and proving my offer and proving that what I had worked and getting really good testimonials totally organically at first. And that's why YouTube is an amazing platform, because it brings people into your realm all the time without having to pay for it. And then once you have that security blanket and you've got some cash in the bank, then you can start investing in ads to grow further and faster and really start scaling your business. But you do not need, you can stop with the paid ads if you don't have an offer that's proven and if you don't have an organic audience built right now, because you're just gonna attract randoms who aren't bought into you and are gonna be really hard to convert into customers. Whereas people who actively choose to follow you, subscribe to you, etc., they're super bought in, and they're gonna become the people who are going to invest in you. The next thing is building a course when you don't have an audience to buy it, or you haven't actually tested what's in the course to know that it works. And again, I did this with one of the very first things that I ever built. I put together a course because everybody said I should be doing it, and the course didn't do so hot because I didn't test it. I didn't make sure that it actually worked before I put it into the marketplace. So I always say test your offer with people one-to-one, because you'll never learn your ideal client better than working with them in a one-to-one situation. You can also charge higher rates if you worked with people one-to-one. And then from there, you're allowed to create your prototype formula so that you can actually build an online course based off of working with real people. Also, building a course when you don't have an audience, how are you gonna sell it? How are you going to sell that course? And again, this is coming from such a place of love and compassion, but I've listened to so many people and I've talked to so many people, thousands of people over the years. And the amount of people who tell me, oh yeah, I built a course and I'm just going to go ahead and sell it. And I'll say, okay, how are you going to sell it? And they said, oh, I'm going to do a webinar. Well, how are you going to get people to your webinar? Oh, I don't know. I have a couple hundred Instagram followers. I figured they'll just want to come. I hate to burst your bubble, but that doesn't work. You may get a few people there, you may get a few buyers, but to really sell a product, you need to figure out how you're gonna market it, and you need to have an audience for it. And you need to know you have an audience that's actually targeted. Because if you just have friends, family, and randoms on your Instagram account, why would they wanna buy your product? So you gotta prove your offer before you try and sell it, and you gotta prove your offer works and you actually have an audience for it before you try to sell it. please. And there's very easy ways to do that and very easy ways to figure that out. I'll put links to some resources in the description. I do a live webinar every week. You can check out on Wednesdays, and I walk you through that process of building your own audience so that you actually have people you can sell to. We've had clients do $40K in an hour following this methodology, $200,000 in their very first launch by building their own audience before launching anything. So it works and you can do this, but you don't want to launch a course and you want to stop creating your course if you don't have anybody to sell it to. The next thing is buying every course, but never executing. Here's the thing. The online information space, the online business space, I talked about this when I did my live stream around the best business to start in 2020. It is going to be a $1 billion a day industry by 2025. That's massive. So there's a huge opportunity at your fingertips, and there is an opportunity for you to have a highly successful course. But you gotta learn what you need to do before you actually get there. You gotta walk before you run. And in order to do that, you actually have to learn from the people that are doing the things you want to do, which brings me back to that point that I mentioned right at the beginning of the video. You need to learn the process that actually works before you implement any kind of process, because trying to figure it out on your own is the most painful way to do it. But the other thing is, people are so prone to just buying courses because it looks like a magic pill and it looks like this thing that's instantly gonna fix your problem. Because that's how people market it. It's a solution to a problem, but the only way it works is if you actually do it. If you just buy a course but you never do it, it's not gonna do much for you. So you have to actually execute on the information in order for it to work. And you wanna do the programs where you've seen proven case studies and proven testimonials that it actually works and that the methodology works. So don't buy another course if you're not gonna really do it, because that money and that time could be invested into figuring out your plan for actually building your profitable business, or actually spending the time focusing on the courses that you've already invested in and the people that you've already invested in. So I know that this stop doing list is a little different maybe than what I usually talk about or what you've heard in the past. But if you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified every single time I post new videos. And if you want more doses of actual honesty, because I just can't help myself and I think it's really important, and more than anything, I would rather you get results than feel the need to be the nice girl all the time. And so one of the things that I stopped doing in 2019 was trying to appease everybody and trying to please everybody, because doing that is only hurting myself and hurting you by not giving you the real advice and real insight that you need to be successful, because nothing in the world makes me happier than seeing your success stories. So take this to heart, even if you're like, you don't know what you're talking about. Take a second, take some time to breathe on it, and tell me in the comments, let me know like what resonated with you and what did you feel was really close to home or truthful for you, and how did this make you feel? Now, if you enjoyed this, as I said, give it a like, and make sure you check out these videos on how to really start building that successful business and what kind of business you want to start in 2020. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching.